Alright, hello everybody, welcome to another Warframe video, and today I want to talk a little bit about split flights, or rather about a cool little interaction that I found between the mod and the Cernos Prime bow. So if you've never played with the Cernos Prime, what it does is it fires 3 arrows and you can change the orientation of those arrows from horizontal to vertical by pressing the secondary fire button. So I thought it would be a good candidate for split flights and I started testing it, and what I found out is that split flights, or rather the negative accuracy you get with split flights, completely reverses the orientation of the arrows and it makes them spread horizontally a little bit more. So if you switch the fire mode to vertical and then you hit something, you basically start firing in the horizontal mode with almost no loss to accuracy but with mad multi-shot. So I slapped together a build that's running Insurrection for damage, split flights for the insane amount of multi-shot, then we have Point Strike for crit chance, followed by Vital Sense for crit damage. After that I have Vigilante Supplies for the ammo mutation, but also for the overcrit bonus, and yes, I am running the other 2 mods on my companion in this video. After that we're gonna put in Hunter Munitions because of how insanely busted it is at the moment with how strong Slash and Viral is after the changes, and then I have 3 dual stat mods. I'm running Thermite rounds for heat and Malignant Force with Rime rounds for Viral. Now I was originally going with just Viral, so I was running Rime rounds, Malignant Force and Infected Clip, though you could also run Primed Cry rounds, but I felt it was a little bit more reliable with that extra heat proc in there from Thermite rounds. Now while I originally just put this together because I thought it would be a lot of fun, it can actually do a lot of damage if you treat it as a shotgun and you stand close to the enemies when you shoot them. Because if you hit the enemies with all the arrows at once, chances are you're gonna proc a ton of Slash, a ton of Viral and a decent amount of heat as well. The build still works even if you're firing from farther away, but it becomes pretty unreliable because most of the time you'll only hit the enemy with 1 arrow, and sometimes you will just whiff completely because you're still affected by that negative accuracy, so the spacing between the arrows is just random. But it's an interesting setup that I had a lot of fun with and I thought you might want to try it as well. The one thing that really annoys me with it though is that the buff duration is just incredibly short. So if you completely miss, whether it is by you being a derp and just not hitting the target, or by the arrows spreading out too much and flying around the target, you're back down to having no multi-shot. It's just a really weird and funky setup. Now, the biggest challenge that I found with it so far, outside of trying to keep up the buff as much as possible, is not treating the Cernos Prime as a bow. Because you really need to treat this as a short to mid-range shotgun. You really want to run up to the enemies and just blast them with as many arrows as possible, and I just can't do that for some reason. I keep shooting at things that are way too far away because I'm like, hey, I have a bow, I'm just gonna snipe things, and it just doesn't work. So I would highly recommend you give this a shot. I mean, if you have the Cernos Prime, you might as well, because you literally just take out Split Chamber and you put in Split Flights instead. Just make sure you're using the vertical mode instead of the horizontal one, because the horizontal one with Split Flights is just a complete and utter mess. And that is pretty much all there is to it, so I thank you very much for watching. As always guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video and you will give this setup a shot as well, because it is quite a bit of fun, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.